Hi, I'm Adrienne Rogers, Artistic Director for Product Club. Sometimes when I'm doing balayage, I'm looking to make a point of emphasis, and I don't want to do it in just a paneled balayage sectioning. I'm looking for something with a little bit more dimension to it. When I'm doing that, I like to use the faceting technique that I created. When you do any sort of faceting balayage, it has multiple sides to each section. We're going to create a triangular subsection right on the top so I can show you how to build this emphasis. The side part is the first side of this facet. The front section is the second side of the facet. And then we're going to take and we're going to make a third side so that there are 3 sides to this facet. Faceting refers to the way that you cut a gemstone. When a gemstone is cut and the light reflects off each individual facet, it shoots color in different directions. That's the same principle that we're doing here. You're reflecting brightness off 3 sides in order to get a multi-dimensional movement of color. It maintains its sophistication. So I'm going to work this side of the facet first. I'm going to pull the hair toward me in this direction because I'm thinking that the hair as it comes down is going to sweep that way when she styles her hair. So we want to get a nice panel of brightness on this back side. So I'm going to hold the hair with some good tension, making sure I have all of the hair nice and straight, and I'm going to load up my feather bristle brush. I'm going to start the balayage application in the center and make sure that I have a nice coating as I work closer to the face. I love this feather bristle brush. It's incredibly helpful to create beautiful, soft effects. Once I get that base going, I'm going to lift up the hair and I'm going to work this front angle. So I'm going to flip this over to this side. I have not yet painted the ends because I want to get all of the base on first in order to manage the hair by using the ends coming through and tapping that in, getting some nice softness around the hairline. You can definitely design this any way that you want. You can go off base or closer to base. With balayage, I usually go all the way because with a more delicate approach to the application of the color, you're going to get a soft transition anyway. So now I've done this back side and this side, and now I want to do the part side. So I'm going to take the hair and I'm kind of moving this while the lightener is still damp over to the side. You are able to manipulate the hair strand until that lightener gets too dry. Once the lightener gets dry and starts cracking, you definitely don't want to move that hair because it messes with the way that the lightener lifts the hair. You want to make sure that you have a nice coverage on there. But once it starts drying, you don't want to crack it because if you crack it, then it's going to not process evenly. So now that I've got the basics of the 3 sides on, I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to pinch just that corner. What I'm doing is I'm pushing that lightener into the center of the section. And on each corner, I'm going to pinch slightly. What that does is it displaces the lightener from the outside and pushes it in, creating a stream of brightness. You definitely need to reapply once you displace that lightener because if there's nothing white on the outside, it's not going to process properly. Moving it over to this side, coming back in and reapplying. So for each corner, I'm going to pinch it again and make sure that I get that nice lightener moving through. And then one more time, I'm going to reapply on those edges. This allows the corners to have a concentration of lightener in them, and it really gives you some nice strong movements as it goes around the section. I have a technical term I like to use. I call it the shimmity sham as I move the hair over to the side to get it out of the client's face. And then I'm going to get my final corner over here. And then as I come through, now I'm going to start to work this through to the ends. As I come into this side, I'm moving the lightener. The key to this sort of an application is the smaller the section, the more intense the aesthetic as it comes down. The larger the section, the softer the effect, because there's so much depth left in the center of these three sides. It's going to soften that. But if you make a tighter triangle, you're going to get less center, so it doesn't soften that effect as much. And as you move through, you're going to make sure to fully apply the lightener all the way through the ends, making sure that you have nice, smooth transitions through this section. By doing all three sides, you're creating really dynamic movement in the hair that's going to have a spectacular effect when it comes out, but it will still have the softness and sophistication because of the depth pocket on the interior. When you are applying balayage lightener, sometimes when you apply it, you may overshoot the section. This is a very common thing, and it has nothing to do with whether you're good at it or not. It just moves around. So when that happens, all you need to do is disrupt that. Because the clay lightener does not seal and you disrupt it, you're not going to get any lift in it. It's a very simple fix. You can either comb through it or use your fingers to break that up, and you can then have a nice clean application. If you want this particularly light, this is a good situation to use balayage film or some sort of an insulating fabric in order to keep that heat in there and get that to lift. But by using one small triangular section, you're going to get a full spectrum of color movement on each side that does beautiful things in the lengths of the hair.